Alright guys, welcome to Mark Anthony's Music Picks, episode 64. Today I'm going to hit on a popular genre that I know a lot of my fan base is really into, so I think you guys will appreciate this video. I'm not going to focus on a singular artist or a label like I normally do for my episodes. Today I'm just going to do a smattering across what I would consider to be a category of dark techno. Now I know dark techno has been basically the popular genre of choice for probably the last 3 to 4 years amongst, people in their early 20s, or I'm sorry, really anywhere from early 20s to like mid 30s. Like that's where all the young party people are gravitating towards. And techno has gotten so popular that it's basically spawned off this like bastardized, undesirable form of techno called business techno, which I think is a hilarious name to kind of make fun of the 128 beats per minute standard issue techno sets that are just like so commonplace. Like if you go out to any club or any party and it has a big room and they're selling drinks, it's like 90% chance you're going to hear a business techno set, which is like anywhere from 128 to 132 BPM, relentless, very few breakdowns, and the only thing that you can really tell the difference in is maybe the bass line. And it's just like this like pounding background vibe that just becomes kind of secondary to other reasons that people are going to parties. And it might not even be about dancing anymore. It's more about just like standing there and listening to it, which I don't get. But anyways, my point with all this is that even amongst what would be considered dark techno, I still do like some of that, and I'm gonna pick some of the dark techno selections that I've found over probably the last 10 or 15 years that kind of fit the bill for that set, but aren't so like straight down the middle and commonplace. So the first one I want to present to you is by an artist named Adam Marshall. This is his Nightfall EP, and it came out in 2007 on his label. It's called New Canada. It's his own label where he releases his own brand of techno. Now, I've listened to other Adam Marshall records, and they like they're not bad, but they're not my style. But the one track on here really just kind of like is different from the rest of his catalog, and that's the one that I kind of glommed onto. It's called Cocaine, but it's spelled with like 2 K's instead of like 2 C's. So it's Cocaine. I'll put the spelling down here. But I discovered this in a Damien Lazarus mix CD. It was Damien Lazarus Sci-Fi Lo-Fi Volume 2, it was called. And it was a mix CD that kind of changed my life. I stumbled onto it in, I think, 2008. And it just kind of blew my mind because Damien he put together a mix CD of really abstract, unlikely songs that would be put together. Like it's got a burial track in it. It's got an old pulp record in it. It's got an old synth pop record at the end, like the instrumental mix of a synth pop record from 1984. It's like all over the place. And I think the reason that he was able to go all over the place in it is because he wasn't so focused on beat matching. So a lot of times in the transition, some of the tracks are beat matched into each other with just standard DJ blends, but some of them go into like an ambient weird noise, like, hey, I'm just gonna play this little vocal or this little snippet, this little piece, and while there's no beats dropping, he transitions the songs, gently. So you kind of get this mix CD that doesn't follow the standard mix formula for how it progresses through. And it was a great mix. And the first time I heard it, somehow I found the track listing for it online was missing this track. It had every track in it except for this. So it became this like mystery for about a month until somebody like reposted the correct track listing. And of course, like the track that I wanted out of the entire mix, the one that I was like gonna go and buy the vinyl for, was the one that you couldn't find the name for, which I think kind of added to the suspense of it. But yeah, Adam Marshall, Cocaine, one of the star tracks in that mix. But also check out this record and check out Damien's Sci-Fi Lo-Fi mix. It's just ridiculous. Oh, you know what? Before I put this away, there's something else I want to say about this. I just thought of it. The synth work in this is why it's so good. So hard, heavy techno beat, real like thick and chunky and down low. And then halfway, 2/3 of the way through the track, Adam comes in with this like crazy like Count Chocula a synth where he's just like kind of like, you know, mashing down the keys and just holding them and drawing out these notes in a very like just like dark fashion. And then on top of that, he has another melody that he kind of like descends as it trickles off into the distance, and it's just really cool. It just has this really thunderous vibe, and I think that's really what makes this stand the test of time. This is something really unique here. Next one I'm gonna present for you guys here is this one here, and I don't know how to say Nicole's last name. This is Nicole Moudaber. I'm just gonna call her Nicole for this episode because I don't know how to pronounce it. I've never heard it in an interview. I'm not a fan of drum code techno. I gotta say that straight up, but I do have a drum code record. I think this is the only one I have off the entire label, and it's Nicole with Victor Calderone. Now, Victor used to be a tribal guy, and he used to make vocal remixes back in the day. I've talked about him a few times in some of my other episodes, and probably for the last decade, I would say, he jumped into the techno realm, and just that's what he does now. It's like he plays like hard, energetic techno with tribal elements, right? So kind of like engaging his roots. A lot of people that come to see Victor are like they're like getting a little bit older now, right? Like he's got fans that are in their 40s and 50s, and they have a nostalgic attachment to his old sound. So what Victor did, and what I think is smart, is that he basically did a hybrid of techno and tribal, and that's kind of where he took his sound, and that way he doesn't really alienate his fan base. Here, the track that I like on this is called The Journey Begins. I discovered this in a Danny House set back all the way in 2014. It was like the star track of the mix. The one was like, whoa, I gotta track that one down. And I think I like went and Googled the mix and found the track, and I was able to get the vinyl for really cheap. What makes the track significant is that just like the Adam Marshall track that I just showed you a second ago, it also has a sustained synth that kind of comes in. It's like just hit the key and hold it on the synth, and it just carries out for, I don't know, 64 beats, and then you know the notes or the key starts changing and moving around after that. But it has like this really epic soaring feel to it, and because of that, it stands out as something that's really unique in the drum code realm. Next track is one that was a bit of a mystery to me for a long time. This is the I'm gonna try to like iron out this label here. This is the 1XA series. There's 4 records on this label, and I think these started coming out in around 2006, 7, 8, around that time. And nobody really knew who the artists were back then. There's a lot of techno that comes out where it's just like people, a techno guy that already is established will create an alias and not tell anybody who it is, and it's a, you know, it creates like a little mystique, or maybe he wants to change his sound or change his vibe, and they'll do that under an alias. So it turns out that 1XA is Conforce, which kind of makes sense because I have a ton of Conforce records. I've been a fan of the guy for probably 15 years now. I only today, when I was preparing for this episode, did I realize that 1XA was Conforce, but you know, it kind of makes sense. Based on the sound of the record, though, you wouldn't really think it was Conforce because he diverged from his normal template. So the track I like on this one, this is the second record in the series. The first record was called Mandragora, and that was dub techno, which is pretty cool. I have that one too. But this one was called Reagent / Impairment, and the track I like is Reagent on the B side. And I like it because it has this like kind of thunder crack or crackle or thunderclap that just kind of rolls through it, and it's otherwise minimal. Even though it's dark and heavy and it's got some depth and like some balls to it, it's mostly minimal and sparse, and because of that, it just kind of comes off unique. And when I first got this record, I was really into it, and if you look on Discogs, I wrote kind of like a funny review, like going back and reading it now, where I talked about if I was an opening DJ and I ended up playing at a club where nobody knew my name, the track that I would open my set with would be this, just because it's kind of serious and it would maybe establish my credibility to the crowd. So I still stand by that review. I think this is a great track, and if I do get a chance to play a dark techno set, I'll probably sneak this into it. Next pick is an artist that's kind of strange to me because I have almost no exposure to this man or his catalog aside from this record. This is on Bunker, and the artist is Adam. Now he goes by Adam, and it has a trademark symbol next to his name, but I'm not going to call him Adam Trademark because that would just be absurd. But his track here is called Ground Loop 1. And it's just a really nice rolling techno track. It's got some like acid squeal going on in it, but like the kind that's like pleasant to listen to, not the kind that's annoying. And you'll hear in the sample here, like when it drops, it's just like real bottom heavy, low end, just comes through and just like rumbles. So if you got like if you're playing on a nice system and you know it's got a bunch of low end and you really want to like wow people, I would recommend dropping this because the build and drop in this is just so thick and it's so well produced. The guy, if you go and look at Adam's catalog, I mean, oh my gosh, he's got like at least 20, 25 aliases, and even under his normal name, Adam, he's got just tons of albums that are ambient and techno and experimental, and but somehow I missed the boat on him almost completely. The only other track that I have of his is also on Bunker, and it's called Love, Sex, Magic, or something like that. The words are in like a different order, but it has like a baby blue logo on it. That's a really good track too, so I recommend that. But if I had to pick like my favorite track of his that I've like listened to and discovered so far, it would be Ground Loop 1 because it's just badass. And my last pick for today, pick number 5, is this one here. This is by an artist that I guess, I also don't know how to pronounce the name. I guess it's Raudive or Raudive, something like that. And Raudive makes, it's a one guy, and he makes basically after hours minimal techno, but it's like weird. He makes really weird techno. And that's why I love it, man. If you sample his stuff, you have to just put yourself into a different mindset. Like yeah, this is gonna be techno or tech house, and it's gonna be dark, but like you have to be ready to accept that you're gonna hear some wonky elements, like some non-standard stuff, and just like try to picture it in a different context and see if you could like, hey, like would this go off in a club? Like I know it sounds kind of weird in my you know, studio or my room, like, but maybe this would go off in a big venue. You have to like try to reimagine it. The track that I really like on this is the Total Pure EP. The track that I really like on here is called Tunnel, and the reason I like it, getting back to that weird elements idea, is that it's got like an Atari sound effect in it that sounds like Bomberman, or you know, one of those like literally like an old Atari game where you would have like the joysticks and fight Space Invaders. Like it's like not even like, it's like 4-bit sound, like beep boo, right? And that little element, it sounds like it was like the sample of it was kind of like tweaked and elongated, and it makes a hook. Like he's able to make a hook for the whole track out of that. And then it's contrasted with some, you know, some piano keys, like some traditional piano keys where it's like you can tell he's all the way down at the low end of the like at the keyboard, like almost as low as the bass will go, and he's just like the down, he's, you know, kind of like hitting these like ominous keys, and then you got the, you know, the video game Bomberman sound going off on top of it, and it's just like this really cool track that's got a lot of momentum. Even though it's pretty sparse, it brings a lot of energy. Like it's pretty high BPM, like maybe 127, 128. So like energetic, kind of peak time, out of the ordinary techno here. So I hope you like this one as well. And that's all I have for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed episode 64. More to come in my upcoming episodes here. I'm gonna get away from techno and switch into some other genres, so I hope you check out my future episodes coming up. And enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you soon. Peace.